Welcome to The Journal. On today's show, we will meet a Muay Thai martial artist, Neil Anthony Ortega, a veteran Toronto orchestra musician, Noel Methvin, a photographer who stumbled upon photography, Farnoosh Ahmadizadeh, a profile with fellow Centennial student Michelle and his artistic outlet.
Ever-changing media landscape. We'll also showcase our journey as the next generation of striving filmmakers.
And before we sign off, we'll be meeting a small business that has survived by pivoting in this time of COVID. And that's only naming a few of our documentaries. We have so many more talented individuals sprinkled throughout, all of whom we cannot wait to show off. The Journal is produced entirely by the broadcasting and film students of Centennial College. My name is Lisa Emerald, and I'm going to be one of your hosts for today. COVID has more or less trapped us with ourselves, leaving each of us much different than we were over a year ago. What's more troublesome is finding a healthy outlet, one outside of social media. Any thoughts, Tara?
They're not a healthy outlet. I always hear the arts reference as an outlet, but they always seem to forget about the martial arts, specifically Muay Thai. Without further ado, let's hop in KKN swinging with Neil Anthony Ortega.
Strength, skill, and will. These are three principles of Muay Thai which I keep behind in my everyday life. My name is Neil Anthony Ortega. I'm a studying nurse, a Buddhist, but best of all, I'm a Muay Thai martial artist. Muay Thai is not merely just a martial art, it's also a lifestyle.
When he started training, I kind of noticed his habits get better and better as time went on. He would constantly ask questions, he constantly looked for chances to improve, whether it was in his technique or who he was as a person. When it came to his life, he was never shy or afraid to share what was going on. He always looked for tips on how to improve who he is as a person. When it came to his Muay Thai, I saw he was getting better day by day. He was always improving. They were sharper, they were stronger, and they were just, overall, they were a lot better. And he put in the work inside and outside of classes. And for that, I applaud him.
COVID has utterly derailed the practice. I used to see Andrew on a weekly basis, while now it's barely a monthly basis. Sure, he sends me the exercises, but it's a whole different level when I'm training with him. He spots my flaws and gives me advice. I won't stop pushing myself, but it helps to know exactly in which areas I need to improve upon. Plus, sparring is an integral aspect of the martial art. It's a close combat sport, and I'm sure you don't need a reminder that COVID doesn't allow anything close. Muay Thai helps me channel my frustrations, my emotions. It's a phenomenal outlet that allows me to relieve some stress after a long day of work or studying. A lot of the times, I act without thinking. My parents have told me I was an impulsive kid, and I guess I kind of see that, so I promise to change that. But not for them, more for myself.
3, 2, 1.
Counting two.
Action.
It's kind of stressful not to have a choice. Anyone can tell you that. I know I'll always be full of regrets, knowing that I won't work the job that I loved. But like the great Bruce Lee once said, you gotta flow like water. Instead of fighting the current, I'm trying my best to flow. And Muay Thai helps me control my flow, my regrets, my emotion, and my spite. A piece of advice that I would give to my younger self would be, just because you can't strike down the strongest guy now, doesn't mean that you can't in the future. Just keep practicing and eventually you'll get there.
Wow, I wish I could be one of those ducks swimming along the ravine. The water looks so refreshing. Oh, to be a duck.
Don't you find Ortega's commitment to the martial art a refreshing example of how life is what you make of it?
Yeah. We all hope for the best of him in his journey. Since the theme of today's show seems to be about beginnings, before we take a look at the story of how a professional photographer got to where she is today, we're going to explore a foreign cinematographer's nostalgia trip.
That's right, we got a double-decker. Up next is Memories by Centennial's own Wonjun Kim. Following that is How I Became a Photographer by yours truly.
Everyone may have their own memorable object in their lives.
All the things that you do.
Like this video I made for the first time in my life. Even though it was too clumsy. Anyway, back then, I took many pictures and shot the videos with only my passion. And my first camera would be here somewhere. Here it is. Maybe this camera, exactly this phone, made me be here now. The pictures I took through this phone would be here. Alright, let's go on now and get back to that feeling of back then. Well, everything couldn't be the same, but as I wanna feel the same way back then, I will similarly dress up as I can. They're the shoes that I must wear, which was with my all overseas trip.
سلام
چطوری؟
مرسی
خب ما آماده ایم.
خیلی هم عالی. بیا
ببریم تو بیا.
سلام. اینم که واقعا به این کار علاقه نداشتم. علیرغم اینکه کار خانوادگی و یه مثلا بیزینس خانوادگی بود، من اصلا هیچ علاقه نداشتم. بعد و فقط مثلا اگر که اونجا تو استودیو بودم موهامو و اونجا که حضور داشتم، فقط اونجا که بودم میرفتم فقط به خاطر اینکه پول در بیارم، فقط به خاطر امرار معاش و این بود. اونجا بودم که مثلا براش باتری میزدم به شارژ، سیم براش میبردم، نمیدونم مشتری میومد چای میبردم، نمیدونم کپی میگرفتم، چیزای این چنینی، عکس کات میکردم، مهر میزدم. مثلا اینجوری بود. مثلا به چشم یه شغل مثلا که بخواد انگیزه‌ای درم ایجاد کنه و اینا اصلا نبودم. این یه بار خاله فریبا این خیلی حالش بد شد، خیلی. منم تا حالا تو عمرم شاتر دوربین فشار نداده بودم. خب تنظیمات دوربین هیچی بلد نبودم، حتی نمیدونستم مثلا اگر که بخوام عکسو بگیرم بعد مثلا یه مقدار خودم برم پایین، مثلا لو انگل بشم. میدونی چی بهت میگم؟ مثلا نمیدونم اگر سوژه قدش کوتاه بعد این کارو کنی، بلنده این کارو کنی، نمیدونم نورا رو چطوری ستاپ کنی، مثلا شاتر، دیاف، ایزو، اصلا اینا رو که نمیدونستم اصلا. بعد چیز شد، بهم زنگ زد خاله فریبا، گفت خودت بعد عکس بگیری، امروز یه دختر پسری میان و نامزدیشون بود. بعد بهم زنگ زدن و من بهشون گفتم اوضاعم اینجوریه، مثلا حالم خوب نیست و اینا، ولی گفتن هر طور شده باید عکس بگیریم، جایی رو سراغ نداریم. همین شد که من برای اولین بار پر از ترس شده بودم، وحشت کرده بودم، طوری که اصلا همینجوری بدنم میلرزید و مثلا یخ کرده بودم، بغض کرده بودم که مثلا دوست دارم یکی کمکم کنه که به دادم برسه که بخواد مثلا به هم بگه چی کار کنم. ولی سعی کردم با کمال اعتماد به نفسی که نداشتم سعی کردم که مثلا خودم رو حفظ کنم، خودم رو کنترل کنم و اینا. اومدن خیلی خوشرو و اینا، باهاشون برخورد کردم، چیز کردم و این شروع کردم ازشون عکس گرفتم. عکس‌ها افتضاح شده بودن. honestly عکس‌ها افتضاح شده بودن، ولی من نمیتونستم جلوی اونا، مثلا اونا بیچاره روز جشنشون بود، نمیخواستم بهشون استرس بدم. گفتم آره عکس‌ها خیلی خوب شدن. نه که بخوام دروغ بگم، فقط از لحاظ روانشناسی خواستم نگی که من خالم دروغگوه، نباید دروغ بگی، هیچ وقت آموزش بد ندم بهت. ولی خاطر اینا می‌خواستم برن توی جشنشون و با همه مهمان و همه هزینه کرده بودن و اینا، دوست داشتم بهشون استرس ندم. خب ولی در نهایت از دید خودم، چون عکس‌ها رو با عکسای خاله فریبا مقایسه می‌کردم، متوجه شدم عکس‌ها خیلی افتضاح بودن، ولی با دیگه ادیتورمون با فتوشاپ خیلی درستشون کرد، دستش درد نکنه. ولی واقعا نه، در نهایت اونا از عکس‌ها خیلی راضی بودن. البته ناگفته نماند خاله فریبا تمام چیزا رو خودش تنظیم کرده بود، یعنی نورا رو ستاپشون تقریبا اوکی بود برای عکسایی که می‌خواست بگیره و اینا، تنظیمات دوربین یه مقدار اوکی بود. من با این مسئله مشکل نداشتم، با کادر مشکل داشتم و با انگل. مشکلم این بود. حتی مشکل پوز دادنم نداشتم، چون همیشه خاله فریبا عکاسی که می‌کرد من به سوژه پوز میدادم، بهشون مثلا چطوری وایسن و اینا، و در این زمینه خوب بودم. حتی در این زمینه همیشه با اینکه مثلا چیزای دیگه بلد نبودم، همه میگفتن تو این زمینه خیلی خوبی. مثلا وقتی دیدم اون عکسایی که گرفتم اینقدر مثلا افتضاحن، ولی در نهایت مشتری خیلی دوستشون داشت، چون ادیت شده بودن، کادر خرابی کادر اصلاح شده بود، اون دیستورشنی که به خاطر مثلا چیز همه اینا اصلاح شده بود. خب مشتری خیلی دوست داشت، خیلی ازم تشکر کرد. بعد خیلی حس خوشایندی بود برام. اولین بار بود که بابت یه کاری که شاید به نفع احسن انجامش ندادم کسی ازم تشکر میکنه. این یه چیزی شد که احساس کنم وای چقدر حس خوبی داره که عکس از دیگران بگیری و دیگران خوششون بیاد، راضی باشن. و اصلا به همین شد کم کم این حس درم متولد شد، یعنی واقعا درم بیدار شد که چقدر زیباه که با مثلا حالا کمترین امکانات، حتی کمترین دانش اون زمان، مثلا بتونی بهترین ورژنی از یه نفر رو به ثبت برسونی که اون شخص خودش با اون عکس ارتباط برقرار کنه. این خیلی حس خوبیه و همین شد که اصلا همین شروعی شد برای اینکه حتی توی روابطم مثلا با دیگران، مثلا حالا مدل بود، عروس داماد بودن یا مثلا هر کسی، خیلی روابطم متوجه شدم هی روز به روز ارتقا پیدا کرد و مثلا طوری شده که هر جا هم که میرم همه بهم میگن مثلا روابط عمومیت خیلی خوبه. از همینجا شروع شد. همه اینا از این خرابکاری شروع شد. از طریق آزمون و خطا اصلا خیلی چیزا رو یاد گرفتم. بعد همین چیزا خیلی بهم کمک کرد که الانم اینجام، کلی برنامه دارم، کلی چیز دارم میخوام پیاده کنم که حالا به امید خدا ببینم چجوری پیش میره. من که تمام تلاشمو میکنم. آره. این that's it.
It really goes to say that the most unexpected moments can completely turn your life around. I mean, who would have think that something that brought someone no passion could become so important?
Right? I think everyone, especially teens and young adults, can find some consolation in that. It tells you that you don't have to force that process. It'll find you when the time is right.
I say it's time you search up A Campfire on YouTube, because coming up next we have a tale from a wise sage. He's traveled with his band instrument in hand across Ontario. He is the Music Man.
You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
No, I'm just delirious.
Hi, my name is Noel Methvin. I'm a trumpet player. Still to this day, I'm 78 now. It's still a passion. I practice every day. I play every day. I play in big bands.
How old were you when you first started playing the trumpet?
Whoa, I first started playing probably about 7, 8 years old. My mother wanted all three of us boys. I've got two brothers, older and younger. We all had to play a musical instrument. She didn't care what, but she said, has to be a musical instrument, because my father played piano and she played guitar. So for some reason I picked the trumpet. I think my uncle played trumpet a little bit at Christmas time and I heard that, so that's probably what got me started on the trumpet. So I'd be about 8 years old, and I started taking lessons with a chap that lived around the corner from my parents that went to the same church with them, so he's the first one that got me started. And from there I just continued on. My dad used to play at church functions on the piano and I'd play the trumpet. My brother played accordion and my other brother played violin, so the three Methvin boys played for free things like that. But then once I got into high school, the music teacher there formed a dance band, and that's really what got me interested in playing more and playing in dance bands and things like that.
Then you were like, was there a certain...
Well, one of the jobs I didn't like doing that fell into my lap, I got offered to be the bugler at the racetrack. So they had me go out to Greenwood Racetrack and took riding lessons for a couple of weeks in the mornings with one of the outriders. And so that was learning how to canter and look good on a horse. And so there I used to say I play more solos in front of bigger audiences than anybody, because sometimes there'd be 5,000 to 6,000 people in the stands and I would ride out on the horse and play the call to the post. Now it's pretty easy to do sitting on a chair, but when you're outside in the elements, it could be raining, it might be windy, it might be hot, sunny. Sitting on a horse, every time it was kind of like a pressure job, because horses don't always stand still. So you'd be sitting ready to play the call to the post, and suddenly the horse would swish its tail or bounce or start to move or something. Because sitting on a chair, it's easy enough to play a trumpet. But when you're sitting on a horse, you never know if the horse is going to suddenly jerk. If a fly lands on him, he swats it with his tail. So it can be a pretty bumpy thing for a trumpet player. And so I didn't like that job, but I got to play a lot of solos. I was the only bugler there, sitting on the back of a horse for 8 races a day. Other jobs that were fun was playing in, dances, but more exciting would be concerts. We play at the Rex Hotel in Toronto and Markham Theatre we've done shows at. and in Kingston at a theater, and different theater jobs where it's just my main band that I play in, Swing Shift, has 2 vocalists, and it's a 16-piece band, 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, 5 saxes, and 4 rhythm, piano, bass, drums, guitar. So playing lead trumpet, the high parts in a big band is my passion. That's what I do best, and that's what I've sort of gone into. So playing at venues like that, we play at the Beaches Jazz Festival. That's always fun because there's thousands of people walking by you and you're playing big band music for them. So those are, anytime I'm playing music, I enjoy it. I don't particularly like playing in a church or someplace where I'm the only trumpet playing. I like the security of having another 15 guys playing with me, but I'm usually the lead player playing the high, hard parts. That's what the horse might do at the end of the song, just to keep up with me.
I've never been musically inclined, so I'm a bit envious he's been able to make such a fun career out of that.
But Lisa, we're doing the same exact thing, just as filmmakers. You need a nap.
Says you. Right, I forgot. The media landscape is constantly innovating. In our lifetimes, we've gone from film to digital and recording, and from theaters to home streaming. And I'm sure this is just the beginning. In the next 20 years, who knows what technical marvel will change the game? Like the great filmmakers who paved the way for us, we'll be riding that wave. Now it's home streaming. Tomorrow, who knows?
Don't even ask me about tomorrow. I couldn't tell you today's date. Our next clip was brought to you by the entire production team. Here's to the high hopes for the future of our careers.
So what got me into this field?
I want to become a writer and cinematographer.
I want to be a filmmaker because
I've always felt right at home when I'm next to a camera.
So what got me into this field? Truth be told, I never really had the interest to become a filmmaker when I was younger. What I originally wanted to do was become an actor. I love theater, and maybe I'd consider screen acting.
Everybody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Our chief weapon is surprise. Surprise and fear, fear and surprise.
We did a bunch of films, as I said. The first major one I could really mention would probably have to be my 10-minute Goodman's Guide. It's basically like an Office-style parody. And then my other one is a 1-minute commercial called The Jeffrey. And it's basically us selling like a civil servant to people. And it's pretty funny in my opinion. It still holds up to this day. But yeah, if it weren't for drama club and my communications tech class, I probably wouldn't have gone into this field. And my friend Andrew.
Hi, my name is Tara, and I'm a 21-year-old film and broadcasting student at Centennial College. I started my passion for film way before realizing I even wanted to pursue this field. I would write short stories for fun whenever I had the time, and I always enjoyed the language classes for that reason. I was always fascinated by the way filmmakers use film to deliver powerful stories. And I wanted to do that myself. I would fantasize about making my own scenes and scenarios, and I would imagine how they would look. Although I thought the main thing that fascinated me was the people these characters portrayed. So I pursued sociology and psychology in high school, trying to become a psychologist. Until grade 11, when we had to pick electives, I ended up picking cosmetology because I thought learning how to do hair and makeup would be fun. But the class turned out to be full, so I ended up picking comtech. And that was the first time I ever learned about film and how to use that and deliver stories using a camera. I became so invested in creating short films that the group that I had to make a film with and I decided to make our own production company. We started with making films in high school and planning to become a professional company in the future. We ended up organizing the first ever award show in our school to appreciate the art programs in our school and especially film. We stayed after school for 3 months every day to plan this big event that we thought of after watching the Oscars together. Now it's this big annual event in our school, which is pretty cool. So when the time to pick out colleges and programs came, I was looking at Seneca, Centennial, and Ryerson. One thing that I knew I wanted to go to was college, not university. I enjoyed the hands-on experience and the more one-on-one interaction between the students and the professors. So I was looking at the Centennial Broadcasting and Film program for the longest time, and I thought it would be a good idea simply because of the variety that they offered. There were so many different courses and so many different things I could learn, and I thought that was really cool. It is now after taking the many classes in this program that I know I want to become a writer and cinematographer. I also really enjoy directing, but coming up with unique fictional stories and planning how they look on film is my favorite part of working in film. Creating powerful and beautiful shots that suit the tone of each different story is such a wonderful and creative experience, and it's what I want to do when I graduate. I want to be creative and make my own stories and films under the production company I started with my friends.
I want to be a filmmaker because stories. I want to tell stories. I love how stories turn into movies, episodes, scenarios, and lessons. I got into film because I believe films can transport us to another time and place. We can break free from the norms and release any concept we feel necessary to the world. Tell the truth. Show reality. Change reality.
Yan ay ninay. Tuod ba larang ginahambal ni mga aliens?
Oo, gani.
Tapos,
pwede ko nung ka mag-wish pag nakakita ka itong lalakaw. Tapos magatuon ko ito.
ang hambal man day mana kapag nagtanaw ko nakot meteor shower nga kay bahan ang crush nimo, kamo ko na magkakatuluyan.
Stories that can change people, change life. I want to become a filmmaker because I wanted to tell stories for people, to people. Because I believe stories are important. Listening to other people is important.
And this is why I got into the film industry. Growing up, I actually spent a majority of my childhood on film sets. My mother works in the industry as a costume designer, and sometimes when she couldn't afford a babysitter, or if my sisters were busy, she'd take me to work with her, and I would sit on a big couch and either read a book or watch a video cassette on one of those old big TVs they had in the corner while she worked. And throughout my entire life, I always found filmmaking to be very interesting. I go to the movies. Well, before the pandemic hit, I went to my local movie theater almost every single weekend to see the latest release. And I've been doing that since I was basically born. You see, there's something about films that just personally speak to me. And watching the director work and watching all these other people work, it just got me hooked and to think like, hey, this looks pretty cool. So that was basically it for me. My mother worked with some pretty high profile actors. She worked with Mark Wahlberg, who I had the chance to meet. I was only 3 years old when I met him, so I didn't really know exactly who he was, but at the same time, it was really like, seeing photos when I look back, I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. I got to meet Mark Wahlberg, who's this really big movie star, and I actually met Lacey Chabert 3 years back on a show called Crossword Mysteries for Hallmark Channel. And I knew her as Eliza Thornberry on The Wild Thornberrys when I was a kid. I used to watch that show religiously. And I had no idea she was in Mean Girls for the longest time until I think it was right after I finished the show, someone said, hey, you met Gretchen Wieners? And I said, who? They said Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls. I'm like, oh, I never seen that movie in my life. There are hurdles in it, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's a passion. And if you can get through that passion, use that passion to motivate yourself to create something great. I've always felt right at home when I'm next to a camera or if I'm doing something that relates to film. It's something I feel like I was born to do, and it's more than just a passion, it's a lifestyle, I feel. And at the end of the day, it's not always about glossy premieres that you see on news shows or Hollywood and such like that. Those are just bonuses. The real reward is seeing your work on a big screen and seeing everyone else react to it, whether it be good or whether it be bad. It's something you created. It's like a part of you. Your personality is going into that, and your passion. And whether it turns out good or not, it's something you can hold and be like, hey, I created this. I honestly think that this industry can grow, and I'm really happy to potentially be a part of it.
We seem to have a wide range of artists at our disposal, and we're not running dry just yet. Our good friend Michel also has a strong passion for the arts, drawing. He's been at it since he was a child. He's maintained a healthy outlet for his stress, like Neil Anthony Ortega.
He also just looks so happy when he draws. I love this clip because you always see the final picture but never the process. Maybe I should commission him to draw me something?
Get in line. I'm still waiting on him to draw me out like George Costanza style. Now, let's watch his story.
My name is Michel Aguilar. I'm from Mexico City, and I've been here in Canada almost 2 years living alone. One of the things I like to do in my spare time and to relax is drawing. I think I really like that. I never done it professionally, but I like to just get away from the busy life and just have a little moment for myself. So I like to draw with some music, just relax, chill with me. And sometimes I also like to do watercolor or pencil colors, but it's almost just pencil. Yeah, really simple. Yeah. One thing I've been doing lately is getting a page from this book I won in college actually, and read them and draw in one of these pages. Looks interesting. So I'm not gonna read this book, that's why I'm giving that purpose to these pages. Sorry, Robert Evans. So usually what I do to draw is I get my paper, my page in this case, and usually I get my inspiration from stuff I see online. When I'm scrolling, sometimes I see a photo or a drawing, and I try to do like my own version of that. And today I'm trying to combine my pencil skills with my watercolor skills. So I will try to do that and just have fun. Forever, I whisper back. Never leave me, promise, promise. Not for even 2 weeks, not for one. I'm a hot lady, Evan. One of the things I like to do to get inspiration is going for a walk to my neighborhood or to a little park and just sit there to observe. Sometimes I like to draw buildings or something that is surround me, like some trees or like maybe a person sometimes, like something to practice also my skills, but it's basically just to relax with myself. I've been doing this since I was a kid, so I would like to keep doing it as much as I can because it really helps me distracting from my problems in life and the world outside.
We have a producer from one of our next clips, Penayota, live on air with us. Penayota, we spoke previously about how life is what you make it. Do you have anything to add to that?
Definitely. It's not all about how you make it, but it's how you commit to it, especially if you're passionate about it. Speaking of my documentary, mentions the founder of an independent production company, Waterboys Productions, where he turned his passion into a business.
That can also be said for my sister. Fitness is important to people of all shapes and sizes, all around the world. However, for her it became a passion. She started taking it seriously back in high school and hasn't quit since.
I'm a casual fitness person myself. I stay in bed all day, and when I'm hungry, I just get out. But is it true wearing a waist trainer while working out has gained any popularity?
It definitely has, and you'll hear more about them and many other fitness trends and figures.
But first, let's take a look at Panayota's documentary, Founder.
Meet me here. Stop. Camera stops in the middle of our conversation. We then go around. Keep it moving until the conversation ends.
Gotcha.
So it's a 360. It's a hard shot. Okay?
Sure.
Would you be able to do this?
My name is Daria Mashai. I am a 20-year-old student at U of T for cinema studies. I am a specialist in cinema studies, and I am also a co-founder of Waterboy Productions. I'm also the writer and director as well as actor in Waterboy.
Oh, I can move smooth. Yeah.
At Waterboy Productions, we've done quite a few short films, quite a few daunting ones, I should say. My first one was The Runner, which I was nominated for a short at the Youth Lens Film Festival as well as Barrie Film Festival, which was a very fun experience. But I've also done this is the Chaos series, which was really where Waterboy kind of started. At Waterboy Productions, we've done quite a few films. My first ever film was actually The Runner, which is a short film that I did with my good friend Matthew Choi. And it was a very cool experience. We got nominated to 2 film festivals for. There's also been other projects such as the Chaos series, which was our short film debut as Waterboy in itself. We've done multiple other projects such as Clairvoyance, as well as Encore, which are other short films that are on our channel, which we're having really fun experiences.
Zach, are you fucking serious there? Zach? How did you know? How did I know? You're not planning on telling me? I'm sorry, I was gonna tell you, but then your father died.
So the crew consists of eight people that I actually worked with in high school.
1, take 3, action!
All of us were really good friends, and we decided, yeah, you know what, let's try making a film together. We were lucky that we were able to find really good actors and actresses to help us out with these productions, these long productions, I should say, and they were really committed. Generally, the relationship is quite great. Because
Rolling. Walk in when you do it, just to give you. Scene 17, shot 7, take 1.
You're so different.
And you aren't?
No, this is unlike you.
You know, the pandemic is obviously a very tough issue. It's something that has caused a lot of productions to be delayed or to be in a limbo of sorts. Which, that being said, is going to affect anything that we do as a company or trying to work on. We've had many short ideas actually stored away, but in the meanwhile, we're just going to be creating art from our own, what we can possibly put down on paper and see later in the future when things are a little bit calmer and things are a little better, we can then go on to film them. I'm a very, I try to be a very hands-on person. There is this thing on set where I'm a very, when I'm in the zone, my headspace is just, I'm trying to think as if I'm the camera type of thing, and working with all the people there. So I'm often trying to help people out, but also it's kind of a very daunting thing. You can see this in many clips of me, but I tend to be very into it, but also a little bit scared. And that's normal. That's kind of how filmmaking is. It's you're working with a lot of people and you're collaborating with a lot of awesome people that are very talented too, which is very awesome for myself. I'm very excited to just go try different things. And I think that's as a filmmaker, as someone who works, or I guess amateurishly in this industry, is looking forward to kind of expanding upon what I've already been able to do and going further with new equipment and new stuff. So the possibilities are endless, but definitely feature-length filmmaking is definitely something I would be so proud to be a part of. So I'm very excited. Hopefully in the future that will be the case. And yeah.
I know we all had a crazy and weird year. Personally, I thought of it as a very long vacation, one where I caught food poisoning and spent the time trapped between 4 walls. Unfortunately, small businesses cannot afford to wait it out, or in my case, sleep it out.
Says you. I've been sleeping it out and I'm doing Anyways, our next documentary is about the effects COVID-19 has had on a small independent restaurant here in Toronto. Here are the tactics they use to survive and thrive. This is Living Through.
You know, there's a lot to learn from the pandemic, that's for sure.
Pandemic taught us a lot of things. My name is Mariel Benaventura.
Okay, my name is Mark Bonaventura.
And I'm one of the owner of Isla's Filipino Barbecue and Bar.
I'm the executive chef at Islas and owner. Started in December 2017. And it started just with the vision of wanting to open a Filipino restaurant where people could dine in and really just come together. We titled it Barbecue because Filipinos love barbecue and we always have summer barbecues at our houses. And we thought the concept would be amazing because we want people to come here like an outing. It'll be like a family get together.
That COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
This morning, I've declared a state of emergency in the province of Ontario. All bars and restaurants will be only permitted to remain open until midnight.
I could actually remember the weekend before we got the news to shut down a restaurant, or when they first called the first 2 weeks of shutdown. Like, we were having birthday parties. I remember specifically we were doing a birthday party that weekend, and you know, everyone was having a great time. Everyone was having a good time. No one was really thinking about a pandemic. We heard about it, you know, starting in China, but we didn't think it was going to come all the way, you know, here to Toronto.
Before COVID hit, we had a good operations, a goal, and a great team. It's very unexpected, like, you know, hearing that we had to shut down. So the COVID caused us to kind of let go majority of our staff.
You know, having to let go of our employees, you know, because, you know, some of them, you know, we got to really get to know them throughout the few years that we've been open. And, you know, obviously we want to set goals for them, and we want to set goals for our restaurant. But to let them go, you know, it takes a piece of that, you know, it takes a piece away from us, right? So, you know, to start back to square one, I guess that was the main struggle. The changes that we had to make, I think one of the biggest moves we made in the early pandemic was building our own website. You know, Marielle, she took it upon herself to learn a program that she found online that could help you, you know, build a website and take control of it, so that any little changes that we needed to make, she could make it right away.
We have to revamp our website to become an online friendly one, so people could just, you know, order from our website directly and they don't need to call us. Sort of like, you know, convenience to our customers. And we also have to turn our dining area to become a grocery area where people could just, you know, grab stuff that they want. But of course, it's related to Filipino products.
You know, there's a lot to learn from the pandemic. That's for sure. You know, I think it's not necessarily a negative thing to start back from square one. You know, it helped us to realize the mistakes we were making in the past. It helped us to figure out what we could do better moving forward.
We should not focus on one stream of income. So, because our restaurant is highly focused on dining, we felt, you know, we get highly affected by the shutdown. But with all this creativity of promoting different products, I felt it helped us to get through.
It also helped us to be a little bit more creative in what we're offering, because, you know, as you can see, now there's so many people cooking from home. There's so many people starting their own catering businesses, or you know, becoming chefs now. So it kind of put us to or pushed us to a level where we have to be a little bit more creative, and we have to do more than just what everyone else is doing, right? Pivot ourselves in a position where we're building our brand, and also focus more on how we could like reach the people, right? Because you know, we still have a vision for our restaurant, and you know, we're not ready to give it up.
And there you have it. It's been a crazy 13-week ride, but it's time to put this elephant down.
Animals are harmed in the making of this production.
Now, I don't know about you, Tara, but I need to get some rest and wait for the vaccine rollouts.
That'll be a long nap, but I'll race you to it.
Bring it on. Thank you to everyone who put their efforts into making this show happen. And shout out to our classmates for working, if not even harder, on their own shows. I'm Lisa Emerald.
I'm Tara Rizai.
This has been another edition of Centennial College's The Journal.